In many cases, it's the key to catching a rapist. So why has it been left on shelves, untested, and in warehouses like this one in Detroit? But it's not just Detroit. An estimated 400,000 rape kits sit in backlog across the country. How did we get here? Who's responsible, and how can we end the backlog? I went looking for answers.
Even not being assaulted and going to a gynecologist can feel invasive. But is it a painful exam? No, not when done correctly.
Kathy Carter is a sexual assault nurse examiner. When a rape is committed, the body is part of the crime scene, and it's Kathy's job to collect the evidence.
So anywhere that I swab the body, whether it's vaginal or let's say they've told me that someone kissed their neck, then I'm going to swab that area, and everything gets dried and packaged. Once completed, the kit will be closed with the evidence tape.
Where does this go once you finish?
After I've sealed the evidence, I'm going to give it directly to law enforcement.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
Corporal Shayla LaCosta has been investigating sexual assault cases for 8 years in Gwinnett County, Georgia.
This is a sexual assault kit collected for the victim. I'm assuming this is probably panties and her clothing that she was wearing.
LaCosta's rape kits are sent to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation for DNA testing.
Before there was about an 8-month wait for
On rape kits?
Mm-hmm. But now we'll get them back in maybe about, depending on the case, in about 2 months. Okay. But if it's something that we have a possible serial rapist, we'll call the GBI, tell them what we have, and request a special process and immediately.
But for some of these places like Memphis and Detroit, I mean, they have 12,000 cases in Memphis, over 11,000 in Detroit. I mean, how do you explain that?
I can't explain
that.
That
seems excessive.
Congress thought so too. They just approved a budget that will funnel $41 million into testing kits nationwide. Look at Houston. It took $5.9 million for the city to clear their backlog, more than 6,000 kits. But I'm still not clear. Why were they in backlog to begin with?
It's hard to say. I guess, I don't want to say rape is a common allegation, but it happens a lot.
The GBI says they get more than 160 rape kits a month on average. Now compare that to only about 25 homicide cases.
Because it seems twofold to me. It's not just the labs who are doing the testing, but it's also the investigations.
Yes. Yes, and if you're staying on your case, you will follow up.
So I'm just trying to figure out if investigators are doing that, how could there be a backlog?
I still can't answer that question.
Well, then who can?
Hi, Robin. How are you? Thank you so much for doing this, especially last minute. We really appreciate it.
She was on the Houston team that eliminated their backlog. Can she give us the answers we're looking for?
What I'm still trying to figure out, though, between law enforcement or between the labs where the kits are being tested, on what end were they put on the shelves?
I think it's a combination of things. I think it was procedural. I think the policy, given restrictions and limitations and funding at the time, it didn't make sense to subject every kit to DNA testing.
So it comes down to resources, funding, and policies. That's why Robin says rape kits were put on the shelf. But how do we know history won't repeat itself?
Because the kits are picked up on a weekly basis and submitted to the laboratory in compliance with state law, we will never see a backlog of 6,663 kits ever again.
Change is happening. Memphis and Detroit started testing their kits, but it will take years and millions of dollars. Take Detroit. They had more than 11,000 kits, and only 2,000 have been tested. The state legislature has appropriated $4 million to test the rest. And in Memphis, the city says it will cost $6.5 million to clear their backlog. More than 12,000 kits.
Did we answer what we came out to answer? We know it's somewhere in the process that these kits are hitting the shelves.
But even if that's the case, what I still go back to is that
All these kits sat on shelves for decades.
So the bottom line is what?
We need checks and balances. We need to hold people accountable.
Yeah.
Law enforcement, labs, whoever's taking the rape kits, all of them need to be held accountable so that it doesn't happen again.